Okay, g'day. All right, so I'm going to talk about polycystic ovary syndrome. So not very good. So regulating hormones throughout the body and insulin, things like this can get a real problem, periods and all that. So the natural processes of the woman become quite compromised. So I'm sure some of you have had this and it is affecting lots of things about you. So key things to stay off completely is your gluten, your wheat and your dairy. Anything processed, anything manufactured, a lot of sweets, drinks, anything you can think of that's that nature, which is basically anything man-made and processed. So that's something you need to stay off. Even fruits you need to be careful of. So the real high sugary ones. So if you want to look into that a bit more, the differences between maybe high GI, medium and low GI fruits. The list is pretty big. But fruits, you wouldn't eat a lot. Fruits more or less restore liver glycogen, so energy within the liver and all that, so it can actually help you to sleep a little bit better, but too much, yes, when you have insulin resistance, which is type 2 diabetes, comes counterproductive a bit. So that thing that people take, which is called, I did write it down, metformin. So that's really good, helping to regulate insulin in the cells and helping it to actually uptake glucose like it's meant to, which is really good. So you take that either once or twice a day, and that'll be prescribed by your doctor and whatnot. The other one is chromium. You can use chromium as well. You can cycle that as well, which is another sort of good one that helps with the glucose uptake into the body too. The other one is alpha lipoic acid. Alpha lipoic acid as well actually is extremely healthy for you. Many antioxidants and polyphenols, which are just very good in vitality of health, because cholesterol regulates as well in the cell with antioxidants, which is really good. The other one that is a really good one that can help with polycystic ovary syndrome is your Q10. So even though the heart produces your CoQ10 and manufactures that, and that's to do with your mitochondrial, your energy-based cell, which is in every cell of your whole body, which is your surviving cell that gives you energy, basically. It really does. But it can come compromised too. Now, in conjunction with that being an energy-based cell, mitochondrial, and how CoQ10 does that, so it can give you overall general health. What the biggest thing is that you need to make sure that when you do anything that is nutrition based, really on this type of a polycystic ovary syndrome, everything needs to be very clean. But in conjunction with training, when you weight train, you actually help to force the pancreas, because it's going into a survival mechanism, so it recognizes with the brain and the body to actually start producing and secreting more insulin to re-regulate it through the body. So, I mean, you've got your type 1, which is no insulin, and type 2, which is insulin resistance, where, it doesn't uptake and it just floats around, blah, blah, and causes problems. So you have to be careful how much of stuff you eat. And type 3 is your Alzheimer's. So not enough insulin's actually taking glucose and all that sugars up to the brain. So there's lots of things to avoid. And if you have an insulin type resistance, this is problems. Now, and the other process is what happens is that a lot of, because everything 24/7 is regulating and working through the body with polycystic ovary syndrome, the problem is what happens is that excess hormones as well float around the bloodstream, and that can cause reactions within the body for hormones to mess up, and the bloodstream becomes toxic as a nature. Things don't work very well. The other good thing is I get a lot of people on, which is extremely safe. You can try inositol powder. Well, this one's actually not a powder. This one's actually the sugar cane, which is actually better. I believe it's better. I believe it feels and works better. Doesn't make my body as acidic as the actual man-made powder stuff, which is a good thing. The more your body's acidic, the more everything disease-wise and sickness and illness grows. So that's a key thing to know in any situation. And the more acidic your body is, the more oxygen suffers within the body to regulate everything, and cells just don't basically want to work. They're trying to, but they can't. And there could be other things going on with insulin type problems. So yeah, the cells, not all cells are going to open up and take up the glucose, but inside the cell you've got GLUT transporters, which actually do a vital role in actually taking up different types of energy and taking them to where it needs to go, whether it be the organs and whether it be the tissue and the brains, and helping regulate hormones. And the list is huge, so you can look into GLUT transporters in YouTube. But I get a lot of people on the inositol to help really regulate their it helps to regulate all hormones through the body, balances them out. Brain chemistry helps to grow back neurons and helps everything to fire better within the brain. So that's huge. People I've got on that, I've seen a massive turnaround with them in just like a week. So that's extremely good. But okay, so that's a big one. So training, doing at least, you could do 3 days a week muscle adaptation work, not necessarily cardio, but it's the muscle endurance based work that will force the pancreas to, and partially the liver, to recognize and then reproduce and synthesize more insulin within the body. And then every maybe month or couple of months you could go and get your insulin retested and see if it's actually producing more. Yeah, the list goes on. I wrote a massive amount of things down that is involved in it, fatigue, or chronic fatigue, joint pain, anemia, osteoporosis, arthritis, hypertension, blood clotting, bowel cancer, inflammation. Inflammation's a big one. If your body's not inflaming, then your cells are actually eating the inside of your body. So inflaming is actually good for your body. That's a key thing. If you're not, your body's eating itself. So people that are bulimic, things like that, they've just shut down that many different metabolic processes in the body that it's really struggling. Adrenal glands and cortisol are probably going to be high. So within the body, so stress is always going to be up. So inositol will definitely help to regulate that even a little bit better within the body, help keep anxiety and stuff under control. The other things what I would get tested for all of the time, you'd want to get your HDLs and your LDLs, so cholesterol really tested, because that regulates hormones, regulates fats, regulates insulin. What's the other big one? And antioxidants in the body. So really, really important, things like that. To be aware of, because you've got to remember your body works and functions as a whole. At the end of the day, if one hormone is down, 3 or 4 other more have got to come in and try and do the job, because your body works and functions as a whole. And you can see it from experience. If you think with people that have problems, they're so out of whack from their body and they're just suffering in so many ways because something's not working. So no coffees, no stimulants, nothing like that. Honestly, you have to have an extremely, really boring diet. But if you think of that, extremely good, really clean, and then you do muscle work because it's the last thing the body wants to do. But when you do muscle work, because it's such a massive energy source on top of the body is forced to produce lots of things that are produced in our organs and in our brain chemistry as well. Provided you have really good nutrition on top of that, you're going to get really good results. I would even go and get, so if you can get your cholesterol checked, if you can get another lot of glucose checked, so sugars, things like that, if you can get a really good amino acid all done, so I think you can get a list of about 25 different amino acids. I've got a bit of paper here, but that would be really, really good. Just seeing what else I wrote down. That's really important to be aware of, with metformin, with stomach upsets, cramps, diarrhea, a bit of nausea, things like that. If you're starting to have things like that, you can use the supplement Gut Relief. The brand Metagenics is always better, but Gut Relief, really good. Now you can mix that with some glutamine. That can really help because that feeds the gut and the intestinal tracts as well. The other one, Cushion, actually, or Cushion, however you want to say it, actually really helps to bind the cells of the intestinal tract together, so there's no a leaky gut, so there's no walls, so that's really, really good. And if you're finding you're not breaking down foods enough, you can take on, you've got a super enzyme which covers lots of areas of different things. So there's many different types of things that you can take. You could take individual ones. You can get tested for individual enzymes you're actually not producing. But yeah, I'm just trying to think what else is relative that's really quite important. Obviously, optimal sleep, so the body can actually function better. Lots of fats within your diet, because you're going to actually, women mobilize and use fat a hell of a lot better as an energy source. So lots of omega-3s especially. And even flaxseed, and even like walnut and almond oil, things like that are actually a land base, omega-3, 6 and 9, so really good peanut butter, but not in the jars or not the nuts. The nuts are too much energy for you, so don't even go the nuts. If you were going to have nuts, they need to be soaked so they're mushy, less to break down, but you want to get them in the jars so they're already made. Neurological disorders, anxiety, blood loss, low GI stuff, obviously, of course, really good food. So the best one probably to stick to would be a white rice, so there won't be any allergic type reactions or something to it. Because we have building blocks of protein. It's the proteins we get allergic to. We can build up other reactions to other foods that don't have proteins in them, like say lots of fruit. So if you have too much fruit, you build up an intolerance to that. Your body just goes, I don't want any more fruit. And you can apply that to anything you've probably had in your life. So it's important to think of things like that. And the other big one is the autoimmune disease conditions that you can get. So basically what happens is that's the cells of your body attacking the inside of your own tissue and things like that, which is really, really not good. Your immune system sort of shut down. So it's your sympathetic nervous system, which is your stress nervous system, which is kicking in too much, forcing your immune system and your gut and your intestinal tracts to inflame, and then you inflame your body pretty much. So you've got to be careful there. So that's why, and it's hard. You've got to keep with any type of sickness, illness, disease, problems we have. It's practice and constant repetitive of the mind to be able to get you really focused on any situation and just really stick to it. So you really need to see a good nutritionist to get lots of things done. Lots of doctors out there don't know how to, I've been to heaps, and they don't know how to apply nutrition to lots of diseases. I mean, they can give you a rough idea, but going into the real science, that's when you go to specific people that specialize in it, like an endocrinologist, like that. If you've seen people like that, they really know their stuff when it comes to polycystic ovarian syndrome, especially if then they're a woman. They're really going to be able to help you. Cross reactions. And a coffee, milk, eggs, no chocolate, no yeast. No millet, no soy, no rice, no potatoes, no sesame. So sesame's sesame seed, so oil, so don't worry about that. I think that's about the main stuff that I really wanted to cover, but if you're having, what you're allergic to, then don't have it. Processed, you don't have it. You've got to have, your body works on the vitality of certain things more so than others. Your body having insulin resistance is not going to hang on to a lot of, this is a key one, minerals, electrolytes and vitamins, key things. So even getting in superfoods. So getting things like getting really good, something that has, so Corral is really good for alkalining your body, spirulina, barley grass, alfalfa, things like that. So there's your alfalfa grass if you really want to concentrate it, and there's your kale. So that's a big one because your body is not being able to properly handle, I guess you could call them a heavy nature as such, which sugars and carbs are a heavy nature. Means it requires more energy and more insulin for the body to take it up. So try superfoods. It might just help. And more fats. The body's always going to want to take fats and amino acids, so protein, because that's what the brain first and foremost always needs, and a lot of the body functions and muscle mass to keep you moving. So that's what people keep forgetting, why it's so important. And then if you can't handle a lot of veggies, try the superfoods, things like that. Everything will regulate balance really well. The inositol will really help. Doing more concentrated things on more of an empty stomach allows them to absorb a bit more, and even after a workout, some of them are fine. They'll just go in a bit quicker, which is good. Sorry it was a long video, but I was trying to get it all in under 15 minutes. And good luck, all the best. Anything else, let me know and I'll do my best to go into the science. Cheers.